Dean Smith, thank you for joining us.
Great to be here.
Now, you weren't on the committee, but you certainly led the charge to set up this inquiry. Do you think it is a bit of a weak response, this report?
I'm very satisfied with the inquiry outcome. I think now that there's a very strong body of evidence that points to some necessary reforms. There's a strong body of evidence that canvasses some of the more contentious issues. But I think the Parliament has led, the Parliament has stood up and done its job. Not everyone will be convinced, but of course Parliament isn't made up of all the same people. So I think the report is a very, very strong body of evidence that has been absent in this debate for a long time.
The report's made 22 recommendations for changes, but no concrete recommendation when it comes to, I suppose, the most contentious thing, which is Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act. How do you then build consensus for change when this parliamentary committee couldn't even reach a consensus?
Well, your observation is correct. It doesn't propose an answer on 18C or 18D. It does canvass some various options for improvement. But let's be clear, the substance of the report is significant because what it says effectively is that the concerns that have been raised about the conduct of the Human Rights Commission, the concerns that have been raised by ordinary Australians about whether or not they think that they have an opportunity to pursue free speech have been vindicated. And what's interesting in the report, I think, is not only the issues around 18C and 18D, but the proposal for an oversight of the Human Rights Commission by the Human Rights Committee of the Parliament. I think that's a very, very strong recommendation. Many recommendations go to improving the process and amending the Australian Human Rights Commission Act. So I think this is substantial and it's definitely a way forward.
Are you hopeful that perhaps the recommendations relating to the processes of the Human Rights Commission, that is to have parliamentary oversight, to speed up the process, and I suppose avoid the kind of high-profile cases we've seen like those against Bill Leak and the Queensland University of Technology students, are you hopeful that those recommendations can be implemented pretty quickly?
I've always been an optimist in the campaign for 18C reform. You might remember this started a number of years ago. People said it couldn't possibly happen. We've had the parliamentary inquiry. Unfortunately, we had the Bill Leak case. Unfortunately, we had the QUT case, which gave it a common focus, which sort of put it at the heart of people's sort of lived experience. And I'm confident that the process reforms will get through. I'm hopeful that the oversight reforms will get through, and I'm quietly confident that in my own party we'll continue to debate the merits of 18C reform.
What do you say to Nationals leader Barnaby Joyce, who said today that voters don't care about this? He's never had a constituent come to him and say, Barnaby, we need to change Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act.
Well, Barnaby Joyce is a leader that gets around the country a lot, and I wouldn't for one moment think that what he's sharing isn't an accurate account of his own experience. But for me, as a Liberal Party senator from Western Australia, these issues are real for people. It is an issue that Liberals would like to be addressed. This report definitely goes in that direction. We shouldn't be surprised that amongst almost 100 members of the coalition in our national parliament, there will be differences of view. There will be differences of view on 18C. There will be differences of view about where this should sit in the list of priorities. But we are the government and we can walk and talk and chew gum all at the same time, I would hope.